Welcome back to another edition of the Inside Indian Hill Braves Sports Podcast here on IndianHillBraves.org and ESPN Media, powered by Sidearm Sports. I'm Jason Griefer. Joining us, as always, is Indian Hill Athletic Director Brian Phelps. Brian, good to see you once again. I got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And let's start on the diamond with your baseball program. Got a mid-pack in the CHL right now, although everybody just has a handful of games under their belts right now. You're 2-2 in the league. You look at the way things are shaping up this week, if the rain will hold off for once this season. It seems like it's always been a challenge, and we'll talk about that with your softball program in just a moment. But look at the way things are shaping out as far as the schedule goes. You've got a couple against Madeira and Marymount sandwiched in between a little bit later on this week. And Madeira has been struggling at this point on the season. Marymount has been playing very, very well. Are the coaches looking at the 2-game set with Madeira on Wednesday and Saturday as kind of games like, we got to take care of these? Marymount's going to be its own unique challenge, but if we want to compete for the top spot in the CHL, we need to win these two against Madeira.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, by the end of this week, you included Marymount in there too. We're going to know where we sit, right? So we opening up with Wyoming, then having Taylor, two of the better teams in the league for sure. Marymount, we know, is really strong. Madeira, as you said, I think is kind of in the middle of the pack right now, but I think they've also shown they can play really well and play with anybody. So definitely not a team we're taking for granted. But yeah, by the time the week ends, as long as we have decent weather and can get all the games in, we're gonna really know where we fit in the CHL, and we still have hopes and dreams and thoughts that we can win this league. And I think it is up kind of for grabs for anyone. We've got to get somebody knock off Taylor, obviously, but yeah, it's going to be a fun league, really competitive this year, and we'll see how things shake out.
Over on the softball side of things, it's a tough league to try to navigate for sure, and I don't think anybody's felt that effect more than your squad to this point. You've got Wyoming, Taylor, and Reading at the top. They're a combined 8-0 in the league, and they've given up a combined 10 runs in those 8 games. So the league's very, very top heavy this year, but got an opportunity perhaps later today against Marymount, and it's going to look like it's going to be scheduled for a doubleheader today, as yesterday was a Monday was a washout. But I can't help but think back to what we saw in the 2-game set last year against Marymount, and 2 games that wind up 21-20 and 35-33. So, runs abound, seemingly anything and everything that could happen. It felt like it was a video game. I remember our conversations about that. What would be your reaction if you get out there and watch the teams play today and we see something even remotely in that realm once again?
Well, thankfully, they're going to be 2 5-inning games and not 7-inning games. So that should keep the scoring down a little bit. But, on one hand, it's kind of fun it's going back and forth the whole way, and it's anyone's game. And hopefully it's a similar type of game, maybe not quite as many runs, and hopefully we're on the winning side of those. But, we think that we can compete with Marymount in softball, and that should be a pretty good fit. And, you usually don't play double headers, especially during the week, very often. So that'll be a little bit different from a depth standpoint, how long our pitchers can go. But it should be a nice day, a little chilly, but why not play 2?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, with the grind coming up the next few weeks, very few days off to try and get in as many of these games as we can. And another event that's going to be a program that's going to be playing 2, so to speak, this week, at least as far as the schedule goes, is track and field. You've got scheduled dates against Finneytown a little bit later on this Tuesday. And then Sycamore is up on Friday, a relay event there. So starting to build things up right now, a little bit more active at this juncture in mid-April, but we can kind of see the end of the road not too far off in the distance, just a few weeks away from the postseason. So with that, how close do we feel like the coaches are to starting that tapering process with the athletes? I know we just Indian Hill just hosted a relay event this past week and did very well for both the boys and the girls in that relay event. But how close are the coaches to that tapering process so as to not wear out your track and field athletes before the postseason?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And just as recently as this Friday, both our boys and girls won the Cincinnati Country Day Invitational. And I think both teams have really just come out firing a little better than expected. So it's kind of that, how much do you kind of start, taking them back a little bit, not going too strong, too fast. But Yeah. You would think we're just about ready to get to that point. We've come out firing. We've shown really well on both the boys and girls side. I think to the surprise of our coaches, honestly, of just how well we have done. So, when you taste that success, you just kind of want to keep going, and do your best every time. But it is interesting if the coaches will hold them back a little bit to save them for their best. For example, Elizabeth Whaley on the girls' side, the last 2 times out, our relays and then the Country Day Invitational has set the school record in the 800. So she just keeps getting faster and faster. So hopefully that just keeps building, and every time she runs, it is a little bit better race. But as you said, we want to hold some back for the end. This is an important part of the season, but not the most important part of the season. We want to make sure everybody's healthy and ready to go when it's tournament time.
Does it give the coaches an opportunity also to get some of your non-primary athletes, if you will, a chance to get out there and compete a little bit more? Maybe do, like sometimes major league teams do in spring training, kind of a split squad type of thing. Get some of those, maybe some of the younger kids out there and get them some experience in that competition as well.
Yeah, it's a combination of seeing what everybody has, the diamond in the rough, if you will, kind of who wasn't expected to do something great, and all of a sudden they're in a race and like, wow, that was really good, and we can use them here. And it's also a little bit about building chemistry when you talk about your relays. So yeah, it's really kind of the fun part of the season where you can change the lineup up a little bit. You can see who you have, and then see who's ready to go towards the end of the year. Your best kids and your fastest relays and your longest jumpers and all that kind of stuff. So exactly, these types of invitationals are for exactly that. Kind of mix the lineup a little bit, see what you have, and go from there.
Moving on to the lacrosse field now, let's talk about the boys first. They've got an interesting run coming up after a tough one against Marymount this past Friday. And of course, we've discussed here in this program before the power that Marymount is in lacrosse. But look at the way things shake out this week. Got a couple of important home games to try and take care of against Fenwick and Turpin. And then a unique opportunity coming this Saturday when you travel across the river into Kentucky to Thomas More University. You're going to take on Lexington Catholic as kind of two teams from kind of meet in the middle, if you will, geographically there. So unique opportunity there. So I'm curious to know how the boys are feeling coming off that Marymount loss, where a lot of momentum going in. Marymount, gets the better of you in that one, and then heading into this week with the 2 at home, and then that opportunity on Saturday against Lexington Catholic.
Yeah, the boys sit at 4-2. I think we knew Marymount would be really good. We hope to give a little bit better effort, and not even effort, outcome, I should say. But, credit to them. They're really good, and that's where the bar's set right now. And we have the opportunity throughout the rest of the year to get better each game we play, and hopefully see them deep in the tournament and have a better outcome. But, right, this is a big week for us. Wednesday, when we host Fenwick here, it'll also be our youth night, so we'll have a great atmosphere, a great crowd. And we need to perform well. I think it's a good matchup for us. It's a team that we feel like we could or should win, but they're pretty solid. And if we don't bring our A game, then it could not go well. But Turpin, as you mentioned, and Lexington Catholic on Saturday, it's a big week for our program. I think that kind of getting Marymount in our rear view mirror and moving forward, we have some good opportunities in front of us. But just talking to our coach yesterday, he knows he's got a tough schedule, and we want to play that schedule. And I asked him, I said, kind of where we are, would you have wanted to schedule differently? He said, absolutely not. After the Marymount game, these games are just all preparation for the tournament. I don't care what the record looks like. If we're playing really good competition and finding ways to get better every game and getting ready for the tournament, that's what matters. And I agree 100% with him. So we've got a tough schedule, a tough one coming up this week, and we're just going to try to get better each time we play.
What do you make of the response when coaches tell you up against a very, very tough schedule, not only with some league opponents, but also outside of the league and even outside of the area, when things are going tough and they tell you, I wouldn't schedule it any differently. This is exactly the type of schedule I want. What's your reaction when you hear that?
Yeah, those are the coaches we're looking for. An undefeated season through the regular season doesn't mean anything if you don't get it done in the playoffs. And We have goals throughout the, we want to win every game, of course. We want to win, our local rival games, but if we can schedule up, if you will, which we do, and that gets us prepared for the tournament, that's ultimately what we're looking to do. And we've got a nice lacrosse staff that is doing a good job with our kids, and hopefully it works out in the end.
Same thing can be said on the girls' side of things. Is they going through right now 4-1 on the season, but they're treating scoreboards, because they've been on the road like a pinball machine as much as they've been scoring. They're averaging nearly 21 goals per game through the front five. We talked about Marymount on the boys' side. The girls are going to get Marymount later on today, and a big one there. You're going to get Madeira later this week. You're going to play DeSales out at UC on Saturday. Looking at this Marymount one, first of all, your team has been scoring goals in droves and been doing it on the road primarily. They're going to come home for this one against a Marymount team on the girls' side of things. We know what they did last year. The beats kept on for them going into this matchup here tonight. How confident are the girls going into this matchup against Marymount that they can continue the hot run, especially offensively, with as many goals as they've been scoring to start the year?
Yeah, I think the word's probably more excited to play a really good team. As you said, right now, in the last handful of years, Marymont's been that benchmark, and we know they're really good. What I love in our girls and our coaches, we were talking about it last night, just how excited they are to have the opportunity to play another really good team in the area at home. Hopefully, we have a nice crowd for it. And we talked about kind of the benchmark earlier. It's the benchmark for us. That's we need to beat Marymount to be the premier program in our division in the city. I mean, I think that's very fair to say. From a confidence standpoint, I think we are. I think we feel like that is a team that we match up well with. We got to do it on the field. The scoreboard's got to reflect that way, all that kind of stuff. But I know our girls and our coaches are really excited to host the Warriors of Marymount tonight at Tomahawk Stadium and give them our best effort.
Talk about the opportunity as well on Saturday, taking on DeSales out at UC. We mentioned the boys are going to play on Saturday down at Thomas More University. We talked last week about your baseball program getting to play up in Dayton at the Dragon Stadium out there. Just how much more fun does that make that for the programs for them to be able to go to the college campuses and with baseball to a professional stadium like that, and get a little bit out of the norm, if you will, and also see what could eventually be for them down the road if they progress as student athletes?
Yeah, part of our job, not just mine as the athletic director, but our coaches and our staff, is to provide the best experience for our kids possible. And that's exactly what we're doing. We have great facilities here, but to go play at Middletown and get a huge win, really, Middletown's been playing great, to get a nice win over Middletown at Dayton Dragon Stadium is just, it's one of those memorable experiences that'll stay with you, probably forever. I mean, that's I don't want to say a once in a lifetime opportunity, because, some of our kids will move on and play at some really neat places, but it's definitely a memorable experience and opportunity. And for the Saturday game for our girls down at UC, it's part of team bonding too. They're going to go down for the noon draw for UC and watch a Division I college game and be together and enjoy that day. It should be a great day. I think they're saying like 80 degrees on Saturday, and then roll right in and play a great team from Columbus and DeSales. And if you love lacrosse and if you love your teammates and your coaches, what a day to spend together watching some Division I lacrosse and then taking the field and playing another great team at a great facility. So as much as just the competition and going to these types of places, we're trying to create the best experiences we can for our kids, a little team bonding, and all in all, that's what high school athletics are all about.
Can really bring a team together and give you that extra shot in the arm, especially if you're playing well. And both lacrosse teams doing that for sure, as is your tennis program, able to take care of business against Marymount, a Marymount team that have been playing very, very well coming in to the matchup on a Monday, but your team takes care of them 5-0 to continue the roll going in the league. You're going to get Madeira coming up this later today, assuming Mother Nature doesn't have other ideas on the courts. But The big one, obviously, and we alluded to this a little bit on last week's program, we finally get the one that's been eyed on the schedule for a little while, and that's the trip to Sycamore on Wednesday. And you talked a little bit about that last week, kind of what that can do, and just seeing that matchup there with how good Sycamore is at their level, and a team that it could easily contend for a state title, as is yours as well. Now that that day is finally seemingly on the horizon, assuming we're able to get it in, what are the coaches expecting from the boys here in this one against Sycamore in particular? And how far would a win against Sycamore go for this team as far as the rest of the season?
Yeah, a win means just another confidence booster. It in some respects, it's just another match. Two of the best programs in Ohio, definitely two of the best programs in Cincinnati and Division I and Division II. And it's more bragging rights than anything. It's a team that we look at, that we really aspire to be that level. Sycamore enrollment is a lot different than Indian Hill enrollment. So, that they should be the bigger, better school. But when you can get a program like that, which is, much like us, good every single year and have high expectations for themselves, it's just a good, fun match to play. And if we can win it, then it's kind of the cherry on top. I think this last weekend really prepared us for this match, getting a chance to play a good Edwardsville team out of Illinois and St. X Louisville, where we beat the Edwardsville team and had a great match against St. X Louisville, coming up short for our first loss 3-2 or 2-3, but really could have gone either way. So those are the types of building blocks, including the Sycamore match, that are in place to get us where we want to be at the end of the season. When Thursday comes and the Sycamore match is over, it's going to be updated on the website, and that's kind of just about it. We're moving on from there and excited to play the next one.
Well, and you've got some tough ones coming up after that. You Toledo St. John on Saturday. You got Mason coming up next Monday. We'll get into that next week. So, another one there, but still it could be a nice catalyst going forward through the remainder of the season. As we're moving along here on the program and on the show, you mentioned the weather this weekend is supposed to be pretty good, around that 80-degree mark. And as of now, no threat of rain. That might get changed within the next 12 hours. Who knows? But big event coming up on Saturday outside of our regular athletic events, the Conquer the Hill 5K. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's an event that is our school partners with our foundation. And so it's a great community 5K event, and it'll be a packed campus, and it'll go from, all around Indian Hill, and will culminate down in Tomahawk Stadium on the campus. But it's just a fun way to get the community together, and raise a little bit of money for our foundation, which supports Indian Hill schools in just an unbelievable way. And, we missed out last year and kind of, here recently with COVID, but it's great to have it back, and just something we're really looking forward to.
So keep track of that this Saturday out there. Again, beautiful weather expected. So if you got a chance, get on out there and support it any way that you can there. Another thing we talk about, obviously, with every sports season, as we're looking forward now into May, we can kind of see the finish line down there. Still a little bit of ways to go, obviously, but work isn't done yet as far as when the seasons end in May and into early June and whatnot. We got a lot of work to do over the summer. And one of the things that always intrigues me in our conversations is the connectivity K through 12 in the Indian Hill community, and how important that is to get the youth involved. We mentioned Youth Night coming up here this week out at Tomahawk Stadium, so that's going to be cool as well. But summer camps coming up later on, getting into June and July, and all that information is on IndianHillBraves.org. How important are those summer camps as far as keeping that K through 12 camaraderie and building up that support through the years to keep those kids energized and excited about their future as Indian Hill Braves?
It's vital. Our head coaches now have taken on the title of program directors, and that means they're not just worried about their varsity team or their high school team, but we survive and we compete, and we are the best school in the state, or one of the best athletic programs in the city, because we can hold on to our kids. And that connection from kindergarten through 12th, we have to feel like we are one school, one athletic program. And this is a great way for our little kids to be around our high school kids and our coaches, to meet and to get to know some of our younger kids. And that's exactly right. Not only just learning some skills and having fun, but these are building relationships for our coaches and our families and our kids. And we want every single one of our youth student athletes to see themselves as Braves. Our job, my job, is for every one of our families to not have any reason in the world why they can't get exactly what they want as a student athlete right here at Indian Hill. There is no reason at all for any of our kids to need to look anywhere else. And this is part of that relationship building. And it's a lot of fun. I have 4 kids, and I know, love to be around the bigger kids and our coaches, and it's just one more opportunity to make a great experience for the whole community.
So there's no concern your kids are going to be looking outside of Indian Hill. Is that correct?
They are Indian Hill Braves through and through, and excited for them to be here in the district.
Yeah, we've talked also here on the show about, it's, you're newer to the community at Indian Hill and the developing that time there. Was there ever a point during this process, as far as that relationship and that camaraderie goes, K through 12, where maybe took you back a little bit and said, "Whoa, like this is really," maybe not necessarily didn't realize, but maybe it pleasantly surprised at how tight knit that K through 12 relationship is?
Yeah, I've been at 2 other schools, one in Fort Worth, Texas, and one down the street, and K through 12 type of schools. And what's different here is truly community. Kids live by each other. Although we have a handful of zip codes that feed into our district, it is that community feel, and it is they're playing little league together, and they're not going back to their hometowns to participate on the teams. But I just think of our youth football program. It probably does it as well as anyone. And really, lacrosse is probably right there too. Baseball is really good at just having so many kids wanting to participate for Indian Hill and getting that great experience early with our coaches and our kids. It's just one of the things that I, as a parent, value, as the athletic director, value. And I love our kids wearing our colors, wearing our names, playing on our facilities, playing with their classmates. It just doesn't get any better, in my opinion, to be part of that type of program.
And so for parents out there tuning in to the program, once again, if you want more information about those summer camps, dates, times, all that stuff, IndianHillBraves.org is where you need to go to get all the information for all the summer camps going on throughout the summertime, and make sure that your kids are involved and even more involved going forward. So with that, our time has come to an end here today, Brian. A lot of really great stuff. Really enjoy our conversations, and looking forward to the next one. And hopefully we don't have to talk about any rain or reschedules.
That's right. Thank you, and go Braves.
Absolutely. That is Brian Phelps, athletic director at Indian Hill High School, joining us for the Inside Indian Hill Braves Sports podcast here on IndianHillBraves.org and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.